Good evening. Welcome to another Drama is Life, where we talk about mental health and social topics from past, present to future. Hello, I am your host, Theresa White, CEO and founder of Time Creative Counseling Services. And Drama is Life is here to bring and increase mental health awareness among our community, particularly our African American and faith based community. That is really important because we have a great topic that goes right into the purpose of Drama is Life. You want to know what it is? Great. I'm so glad you said that. So stick around so we can have a conversation. Feel free to ask questions, have comments. Again, this is for a disclaimer. This is a talk and information podcast to give you some awareness tips and also to help you take some information back to your families and communities and apply what you learn here. This is not a therapy session. It's not to replace a therapy session. It's not to mimic a therapy session. I am a licensed mental health counselor and registered drama therapist. So the information that I do give you comes from personal experience and professional experience as well, and recommendations that I may give, or suggestions that I may give. You're welcome or not. So hopefully this will be helpful for you and also helpful for other people. So feel free to share the video, to share this information with other people. So let's get into the topic. So this month is Minority, or the month of July 1st, Minority Health Awareness Month. That's really important to me. So we talked about um, last month, I think the month of June, we had some guests that were here for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and now we're here for Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And so the reason why awareness is so important, when we say awareness, it just sounds so like professional and elegant. When all we're really saying is we just want you to have some knowledge and to know, because when you know better, you do better. Usually. Usually when you know better, you do better. That's not always. Some we can know still do the same things. And that's also something we're going to talk about throughout these next few weeks as well with regards to minority mental health. But today I just want to have a conversation about um, mental health in general. And the topic for tonight is it's a shame. It's a shame. So my first question with that, with our topic and talking about the stigma that is surrounding mental health, mental illness, especially in minority communities, is that I want to ask, what is the two questions? My first one is, how old were you? I've asked this question before to our men that were some guests on here, but I'm going to ask you, how old were you when you first heard the term mental health or slash mental illness? Either or. How old were you? You know, you had those little memes and social media posts that says I was today years old when I found out that the bottom of my stove is actually there to be a bread warmer or hold, it's not there for pots, you know. And so, how many days years old? How many years old were you when you heard the term for the first time? And I want you to really think about that because I'm going to be honest. A lot of times, I didn't hear that term until I got into the field, until I was an adult. I heard oncology. I've heard um, hospital. I've heard crazy and other different terms that can be associated with mental illness, which that's unfortunate, but it is. But I didn't hear the term itself, mental illness or mental health, until I was an adult and actually really working with psychology or in the field of psychology. And I wonder if that's the same for you, which says a lot about the stigma that comes around or that surrounds the term of mental health. Now, I also want to ask the question as you are putting in your comments or put in the comments how old you were. So welcome everybody that's joining in and coming in. Hello, hello. I also want to ask you, what do you think of? What's the first two words that you think of when it comes to the term mental health? So first two. And I'm going to ask you to type those in the comments. What are the terms for you? And I'm gonna just give a few seconds as you think of yours. I don't want to necessarily try to give you some, but I'm gonna share mine. And honestly, when I first heard, and this was a while ago, but even when I hear now, um, the first word that comes to my mind is problem. And the second one is actually a question of why slash what. And I say that because the term mental health is not the same term as mental illness, yet they get used interchangeably as if they are the same, and they're not the same. They're describing two different things. There's a term around mental illness, which, or a stigma, sorry, there's a stigma around mental illness, which is what brings the problem. So that's why my first word was problem. But it also brings a barrier to get to mental health. Mental health typically is seen, as soon as we hear that phrase, a lot of people see that as immediate, that there's illness. They see sickness and illness even in the term health, which is really interesting. But it's health. That's what it's mental health. When I said physical health, most people again will do the same thing, go to the term or go to the mindset of illness, physical illness and problem. And I that's interesting to me. Because I even for myself, I saw that as well when I was starting the mental health and mental illness were used interchangeably, but they're not the same. One is a result. One is something that you're wanting to get help with, so you can get to the other one as a result. So mental illness is a that you want to get help with, so you can get to mental health. You want to be healthy mentally. So we all should be looking for the goal of health. That should be the goal for everybody. We want to be mentally healthy. So I wonder again, why is it a problem? And again, is it a problem for you? Is that, something that you think of as well? The why comes up, that why or what took so long for it to be listed or spoken in my environment? And why did I have to come to school to hear it? So that question comes up as well. What was the issue or the problem with mental illness or mental health that it was or around me? I didn't really remember hearing it spoken again until I was studying it in school. Why is that? What's the concern? And talk about stigma. We can't say it enough because I think because we have heard such negative and judgmental statements about mental illness, or just mentality, period. When we say mental, or you're mental, that immediately says it's a problem. That immediately says something's wrong with that person mentally. What Allah said is that we all are mental because mental just means the mind. But again, because that term has been used in such a negative light, that's what we see. That's what we take in when we hear that word, we hear that term. Uh-oh, am I still on? Can you guys hear me? Hope you can hear me. Okay. I think my internet's kind of doing something wonky. But so, yes, we want to make sure that we want to have this conversation over and over and over again because maybe somebody tonight is going to hear it and maybe it'll stick. Maybe it'll stick because so many, unfortunately, there's a lot of stigma that's associated with mental illness that stops people from getting to mental health. So we're going to have that conversation. And so you see the title of today. This is going to just kind of be an overall statement or overall conversation. So please, again, as I said before, feel free to ask comments, ask questions, share comments on your own experiences. I also want to say that I didn't hear the term mental. I heard it in school, so that was the first place I heard it. I didn't hear it in family, didn't hear it with friends. I heard it in school, which is interesting as well because a lot of things you typically hear in your family friend area first, but that's not where I heard things or heard this particular term. And again, it goes back to the minority piece of it. Um, and first of all, let me just say I do not like the word minority. I'm just going to say the African American community. Um, but with African American community and culture and growing up in a family, again, that's not something that I heard. Now, there are questions, again, that goes back to my problem and why. There was questions surrounding people's behaviors, whether they were family or friends, but it was taboo. And I'll use that word. I really love that game though. But it was taboo to say anything or to ask any questions. How many of you, and you can, just kind of give me a like or give me a little thumbs up emoji. How many of you felt like it was taboo or a hush hush to ask a family member or a friend why someone else behaves and was questionable to you or concerning to you? If you ever said, hey, why does cousin Bobo do that? Or what's going on with, Aunt Ree? Why do they say that? Uh-uh. Did it ever seem like that the person who responded to you made it as if you can't ask the question or even inquire to get information about what's going on? Oh, just me? Okay. Um, I did. And what that does is, as a child, I just took that in and just pondered it. They say in the Bible that Mary just pondered things in her heart. I pondered things. And so it downloaded to me with our title today. It's a shame. It's a shame. You don't ask that. And so I was like, oh, did I do something wrong? Asking, okay, so I don't ask questions about people's behaviors. Okay. So I just interpret them myself. I just tell myself what's happening, even though I'm confused about what's happening. I'm concerned about what's happening. I don't really have questions. I don't have answers. I have questions, but I have to answer them myself. How? Let me just pause that for a second. Again, thumbs up emoji or hand. Give me a like if this is true for you. How many times have you had questions but had to answer them yourself? You did not feel able going to ask someone else, whether that is I had to change my oil. My car is acting up. I'm not. That's not my skill set, y'all. So that's probably why I need help with the car. But how many times have you with schoolwork? I've seen had myself and I've had family members. No, I got it, and it's just. Oh, can you guys hear me? Okay, and it's just interesting because it makes me wonder what is the concern to say, yes, I have a question. Again, unless it's a shame because it downloaded back in the day or younger times that asking questions were shameful. Oh, don't say that. Don't. And I, I'm asking because I genuinely want to know. Now, again, if you need to pull me to the side and say, Theresa, this is what's happening. We only talk about this, amongst these people. We don't want to embarrass anybody. And if, again, I understand you have to use child, I'm a child, but to leave with nothing, that's a very dangerous thing for anybody. Because if you don't answer the question, what do we do? As human beings, we answer it for ourselves, even if the answer's wrong. Can't be upset at us if we answer it wrong because you didn't offer an answer, except to tell us to not ask the question. And so that's what I see happening when it comes to mental illness in the African American culture. And as we talked about again with faith-based community as well, because that is also what they say considered minority community, but it's not, we're not minority. But in those communities, African American community and faith-based community, don't ask the question because it's even, and that's a separate live for a different day. We'll deal with that as well. But if you ask questions, even in the faith community, if you ask questions about belief, what you believe and about faith, it's as if it's a pain. It's naughty. No, no, no. Don't ask questions. Just take what's being said or what you are taking in and just, that's it. But again, if no one explains, no one answers, no one gives me understanding, I'm going to give it to myself. And that's dangerous if I already don't know. Excuse me. So, if you've ever seen, heard, experienced some concerned behaviors. So when we talk about mental illness, again, you can have a concerning behavior pattern and not have an illness. So the same way I can have a headache and it not be an illness. But a repeated pattern of headaches every day, I get a headache every Thursday, at 5 o'clock that lasts 2 hours. It just keeps being a repeated pattern. That's my system trying to show me that there's something going on that I need to pay attention to. I have to ask somebody some questions. I need to first ask myself what's going on. And then I need to say, who can I go to? Yet, I'm saying this that it's been a shame, and I think there's still this huge golden thread throughout the community or the culture of African Americans that it's a shame to seek mental health. I want you to hear that. If I want to be mentally healthy, it's a shame to a lot of people in the culture, the community, in your families, friendships, environments. It's a shame to seek mental stability. That's what health means. Mental stability, physical stability, emotional stability. So when I say mental health, health means stable, that there's a balance, a just balance that is even and good, right? So when you think about it like that, tell me what's the problem with me and ask questions so that I can get to the end result of mental health. Yet again, if I always saw mental illness or mental health as a problem, or if I, sorry, let me back that up. If I saw mental health as a problem, why would I pursue it? Because that says that something's wrong with me, that I'm even looking for mental health, right? Interesting, isn't it? So then the concern comes up, then how do we get this stigma to go away? We know it's there, so we don't have to argue about whether it's really there and people don't really believe that you shouldn't get, no, it's there. It's there, and people are telling themselves that I can't ask the question, even if I have it. And we all have some. We all have some about our own behaviors, our own patterns, our own thinking, our own emotions. If you don't, you need on awareness in another area, right? Because emotional awareness is healthy. We do it to our children. We want them to be aware of their bodies. Be aware when your system is saying it's tingling, you have to go to pee. You have to go urinate. Be aware when your bowels are having a certain sensation, because that's telling you that you need to release and have a bowel movement. We teach our children, we teach people this, our children and everybody in our families, young people in our families, all the way. It's important. Maturity, an adult is mature. They're aware of bills. They're aware of responsibility. They're aware of it and they do something about it. Because again, just because you know better don't mean you do better. But we're hoping that the knowledge that we give you today, this month, every day that or every week that we do these trauma is life topics and podcasts for you, that you take that information and do better. Don't just know that your system's responding in a sensation, but don't do anything about it, because then what happens to that? That means the same way if that baby has a sensation but didn't go to the bathroom, they're going to use the bathroom on themselves and still puts them back in a place where we have to change them and do things for them when they are mature enough to do it for themselves. So we want to make sure that the awareness is there for you emotionally and mentally. And I want to keep echoing on this. Nothing is wrong. Well, there shouldn't be anything wrong with asking for help, seeking assistance, and support that you need. The question is, where do you go? Who do I run to, as the song says? So when I have that question, I may have went to a family member that was like, shame. Shame, shame. Don't ask that. You don't ask why Uncle Bobo or why Auntie T is doing A, B, and C or why cousin is. You don't ask. And so if that translates to a child and they take those beliefs into adulthood, then we're saying, if I have a question about somebody's behavior, including my own, I don't ask. Or who can I go ask that won't say shame, 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 Theresa? You should not have asked that. Well, I need to ask so that I can get the answers. That's how we learn. We're human beings that continue to socially engage and mature and become more aware. But we can't do that if we stay stagnant and restricted with the questions inside of us. So when we talk about minority or mental health awareness among the African American and faith based communities, ask the question. So seek the safety and ask the question. Two things I'm going to leave with you today. Seek the safety. And I'm going to say the safety because I'm saying seek the person who's going to be safe enough to ask the question to. And sometimes you have to go outside of your community, outside of your, and I mean community as in your tribe or your family. Sometimes your family may not be the people that you can ask that won't say shame, shame, shame. You may have to go ask a friend, a teacher. You may have to go ask a professional that, like you go to the doctor. Nobody in your family may be a heart surgeon, or as I gave my example with headaches. You may not be someone that can tell me what's going on in my head. I may not have nurses or doctors in my family, which I do. But if I didn't, I'm going to go find somebody. I'm going to find a nurse. I'm going to find a doctor that's going to say, Theresa, that's not common. We want to take a look at that. We want to do some scans or tests or whatever, right? Because I got questions that I need the answers to so that I can move into the steps that be taken to get to health. But I can't get to the healthy place if I don't ask the right questions. And if I don't feel safe enough to ask the right questions because there's not any person who's going to say, shame, 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 then I hold them in. And what's the outcome of that? We implode, explode, and we end up actually hurting ourselves and hurting others. And that can even be to the detriment of death. If somebody's having thoughts that are deadly, unsafe thoughts, but they don't get them out because they don't have anybody safe to get them out to, they're going to answer the questions within themselves and then implode and then explode on the community, on the family, on themselves. So we want to be safe people. Even if we don't understand, and it's okay because I don't know everything. I'm saying, even when it comes to mental health, mental illness, I don't know it all. But I can't learn if I don't ask the right questions. Even when I'm working with people, I have to go to trainings and say, excuse me, I got a question. Because I want to be able to help the people that I'm serving. So I need to ask the question so I can get the results or the answers and take that knowledge and do better. And if I think you know more, I'm going to ask you. So I say all that. So when we get to that why, if you see mental illness as a problem or an issue or something that's like, I can handle, me leave it alone. It's not me. It's a disgrace. It's a shame. That's how you would treat it. Because shame is what? We covering it up. It's a shame. We'll cover up with makeup. We'll cover up with, everything. We'll mask it as much as we can because we don't want anyone to see the shame. But until same with mental and in your medical professional, when you go to the doctor or when you talk to anybody, even in mental health, when you come to counseling, what's shared verbally, once you get it out, then it does release. It helps to release that. I'm not saying it's going to just solve it one time as you talk, but with the feeling of shame, when you get it out, it helps release the tension that has been built up and having issues. So we want to make sure that we don't treat people, family, friends, coworkers, whoever's in our environment, as if it's a shame. If somebody comes to you and they have a question like, I'm really been feeling down lately, I don't know what's going on. Do you know if we have any EAP benefits? Do you know if we have any providers in the area that I can go talk to? Again, don't be this person. Don't push them away. If you don't feel like you are the person to answer, take them to someone else. I say this often. Again, seek safety and ask the question. So those are those two. Seek safety. So seek the safe person, SSP, safe people, and ask the question, ATQ, SSP, ATQ. So if you doing your quick type in that I do, that people do that, please. And I'm going to encourage you, and I'm not even going to say with the mental health. I'm just going to give you a challenge. I want you, if a question comes up in your mind this week, any question, whether it's how do I change this light bulb, how do I move this couch, how do I rearrange this furniture, I'm going to encourage you to seek a person that's safe, that just you feel like won't be a shame person. Well, you know how to change your furniture around? No, just ask a safe person, seek that safe person, and ask the question. And then I want you just to do a check in and see how it feels to get a response out of yourself. To not have to always depend on you for everything. We are social beings that need support. I know we are in an environment that says, do you and take care of your own and be independent. That's how mental illness starts. It starts with the lack of community, and it stays strong the more the community continues to lack. When they lack connection, that's when mental illness thrives. If you don't believe me, go any mental illness. And if you really, well, in the study that I've done, you can definitely look up your own research. I'm telling you, that has been my experience. Mental illness thrives in the lack of community and connection. Mental health thrives in the presence of community and connection, which is why when we step in and we're trying to talk to people and get them to that pathway, doctors, pediatric, any type of medical professional, mental health professional, we're trying to get you to supports. And that's important. So that's your assignment this week. Yes, I know you don't like homework, so we're going to just call it self-work. Seek the safe person, ask the question, so that we can break this belief that it's a shame. It's not a shame to want to know answers. It's not a shame to have a question. It's not a shame to want to learn and grow and become more aware of yourself and others. So we hope that you will take me up on that challenge and do just that. And I'm going to take myself up on that challenge. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to seek a safe person and ask the question. Ask for help if I need it. You guys have a great week, and let's break this stigma. Be a safe person. Have a good week, you all.